When Bonnie Blue posted that video, no one expected it to explode into a full-on internet firestorm. But within hours, her name was trending across every major platform. From Reddit threads to Twitter rants to outraged TikToks, people weren't just talking, they were furious. And the platforms she built her empire on, they started pulling back, fast. What exactly did Bonnie do? And why has it triggered one of the biggest creator backlash stories of the year? It all begins with the woman herself. Bonnie Blue isn't your average influencer. She's not a pop star, not a movie actress, and not someone backed by a big agency or management team. She built her entire following on being chaotic, unpredictable, and absolutely unapologetic. Known for combining edgy cosplay, NSFW content, and viral challenges that flirt with the boundaries of what's acceptable online, Bonnie made a name for herself by never playing it safe. And her fans, they ate it up. With a fanbase that stretches across TikTok, Instagram, and especially Onlyfans, Bonnie carved out a niche as the bad girl of the algorithm. She wasn't afraid to post what others wouldn't. Her signature? That line between provocative and problematic. Always walking it, sometimes crossing it. Some called her brave, others called her dangerous. But no one could deny she was effective. Bonnie knew how to stir up attention, and she knew how to monetize it. Still, as wild as some of her past antics had been, like the infamous striptease in a haunted house stunt or her 24 hours in lingerie at Walmart challenge, nothing could have prepared anyone for what she posted last week. Because this time, she didn't just shock people. She made them mad, really mad. It started as just another Bonnie Blue post. Bold, brazen, and clearly designed to go viral. But what looked like a cheeky public prank quickly spiraled into something much darker. According to those who saw the now-deleted footage, Bonnie appeared to be filming explicit content in a setting that many viewers found wildly inappropriate, a public playground. Although she claimed later that the park was empty and that no minors were anywhere near, screenshots and blurred clips from the video paint a different story. You can allegedly hear voices of nearby families and see strollers in the background. Whether Bonnie meant to include them or not didn't matter to the internet. The backlash was immediate and fierce. Within just a few hours, clips of the stunt were everywhere. TikTok edits, Twitter takedowns, Reddit callouts. Her followers, once loyal defenders of her don't care attitude, started unfollowing in droves. Even creators who'd once collaborated with her began speaking out, calling the stunt gross, irresponsible, and damaging to the creator community. It wasn't just the content itself, it was the message. Many accused her of normalizing inappropriate behavior in public spaces. Others said she was exploiting outrage for attention, putting innocent bystanders at risk just to drive traffic to her Onlyfans. The online conversation turned toxic almost instantly, and the internet demanded action. And for once, the platforms actually listened. But what happened next wasn't just a slap on the wrist. It was a full-scale platform reaction. And it signaled something much bigger. Bonnie Blue was no longer just a controversial creator. She had officially become a liability. Onlyfans moved faster than anyone expected. Her account wasn't deleted. But something even more terrifying for a creator happened. Her income was frozen. And that was just the beginning. For a platform like Onlyfans, which already walks a tightrope in terms of public perception, Bonnie's video was a nightmare. While it wasn't hosted directly on their site, it was clearly designed to funnel traffic there. The connection was undeniable, and the outrage was spreading fast. So within 24 hours of the video going viral, users noticed something strange. Bonnie's account was still live, but her content was no longer being promoted. Her posts weren't showing up for subscribers, and her payouts had been frozen for internal review. Some speculated that OnlyFans had flagged her account under their compliance and conduct clause, which allows them to temporarily restrict creators during investigations. Others believed they were just buying time, trying to gauge public reaction before making a final decision. Either way, the message was clear. Bonnie Blue was officially too hot to handle. And it didn't stop with OnlyFans. Instagram started quietly throttling her content. Her recent reels, which usually racked up hundreds of thousands of views within a few hours, were suddenly flatlining. Posts weren't showing up on hashtags, stories weren't loading properly, and her engagement dropped off a cliff. TikTok, never one to tolerate controversy for long, went a step further. Multiple videos from Bonnie's account vanished without warning, and her profile was slapped with a content violation notice. Behind the scenes, creators started whispering that Bonnie had been soft banned, a shadow censorship technique where platforms don't remove you outright, but make sure almost no one sees your content. It's the digital equivalent of being silenced without a trial. And for someone like Bonnie, whose entire brand relied on visibility and virality, it was a death sentence. Other creators began to distance themselves. Several influencers who had previously collaborated with her issued statements condemning the stunt. One popular OV creator even went live on Instagram saying, "Bonnie's actions are making all of us look bad. She crossed a line and we're all paying for it." But the thing about Bonnie Blue, she doesn't stay quiet for long. Instead of apologizing or taking a break, Bonnie did what no one expected. She doubled down. She went live on her backup Instagram, claiming the platforms were trying to cancel her for clout and that she was being used as a scapegoat. In a nearly 40-minute live stream, she called out Onlyfans directly, accusing them of favoring safe, corporate-friendly creators and abandoning the edgy personalities who built the platform in the first place. She didn't stop there. Bonnie leaked alleged screenshots of DMs with an OnlyFans support rep, showing messages that implied her account was under review due to external media backlash. She framed it as proof that the company wasn't reacting to policy violations. They were reacting to public pressure. The internet once again exploded. Her fans, at least the ones still left, rallied behind her. Hashtags like Justice for Bonnie and Free Bonnie Blue started trending on X, but the support wasn't unanimous. For every person defending her, there were two more saying she was gaslighting the situation, playing the victim after deliberately creating chaos. Then came her next move. Bonnie announced that she was launching her own site, a paywalled content hub where she would have no restrictions, no rules, and no fear of censorship. She positioned it as a rebellion against the platform she once relied on, an uncensored home for creators who wanted to take back control. And like everything she did, it was loud, messy, and impossible to ignore. But if Bonnie thought she'd regained the upper hand, she was dead wrong, because the backlash wasn't just digital anymore. It was about to get dangerously real. That same night, Bonnie's personal info was leaked online. Her home address, phone number, and even private emails. The internet wasn't just angry, it had turned vengeful. And the consequences were just beginning. Bonnie Blue thought she was fighting an algorithm. What she didn't realize was that she'd just lit a match in a room full of gasoline. Hours after she announced her uncensored platform, something far more sinister started unfolding. Her personal information was leaked online. In the middle of the night, screenshots of her driver's license, phone number, and even the street view of her apartment building began circulating on 4chan and Reddit. It didn't take long for the chaos to move offline. Bonnie posted a now-deleted story showing a police cruiser parked outside her home, claiming she had filed a report after receiving multiple anonymous threats. She said someone had sent her a photo of her own building with the caption, "We're watching." Whether the messages were real or another attention-grabbing tactic, no one could say for sure. But what was clear, the situation had gone way beyond cancel culture. This was targeted harassment. The doxing drew immediate backlash. Ironically, even from people who had criticized her earlier. Popular YouTubers and streamers spoke out saying, "We can call out bad behavior without threatening someone's safety." Some of her critics softened their stance, realizing that while Bonnie's stunt was reckless, no one deserved to have their life put in danger over it. Still, the damage was done. Brands that had quietly partnered with her for private campaigns, mostly adult products and subscription boxes, began pulling out. One company released a vague statement about reassessing influencer guidelines, and another simply deleted all traces of their collab with her. In just 3 days, Bonnie went from platform darling to digital pariah. And yet, she still wasn't backing down. Instead of going quiet or apologizing, she leaned harder into the chaos. In a fiery Instagram post, she accused everyone, platforms, brands, other creators, of using her as a scapegoat for a system that was already broken. "They want a villain," she wrote, "and I gave them one." Her followers remained split. Some saw her as a provocateur, unfairly targeted by a hypocritical system that pretends to celebrate edgy content until it actually pushes boundaries. Others believed she was manipulating the narrative, weaponizing victimhood while avoiding any real accountability for her choices. Either way, the clicks kept coming. Bonnie was trending almost daily. News sites picked up the story. YouTube commentary channels began breaking down the timeline like it was a true crime case. People who had never even heard of Bonnie Blue were now deep in the drama, choosing sides, dissecting her posts, and searching for clues. She wasn't just being watched, she was being studied. But the most shocking twist? Bonnie seemed to be profiting from it all. With her main platform still throttling her content, Bonnie pivoted hard into monetization. She dropped a limited-run cancellation merch line featuring phrases like "too hot for Onlyfans" and "banned but paid." It sold out in hours. Then came the bombshell, a self-produced docu-series titled "Burn Me Baby." Packaged as a behind-the-scenes look at her downfall, it promised exclusive footage, private messages, and her uncensored truth. Of course, it wasn't free. Access cost $29.99 for the full series, or $49.99 with a private Discord invite. And people bought it. Tons of people. Reports swirled that she earned nearly 6 figures in just 2 days from the launch. If true, Bonnie hadn't just survived the internet outrage cycle, she'd gamed it. But that raised a disturbing question. Was this all part of the plan? Was Bonnie Blue really just reckless? Or was she playing everyone from the start? As Bonnie Blue's docuseries racked up thousands of paid views and the hashtags surrounding her controversy continued to trend, a new wave of conversation took over the internet. What if this entire meltdown, every post, every takedown, every platform response, wasn't a disaster at all, but a meticulously planned marketing campaign? The pieces started to fit together a little too perfectly. Think about it. The stunt that started it all was extreme, sure, but not outside of Bonnie's typical pattern. She'd always operated on the edge of acceptability, skirting platform guidelines without crossing that final line, until now. But even that line felt blurry. The public space where the video was shot, legally ambiguous. The outrage it caused, predictable. The fallout, monetized almost instantly. Internet sleuths started digging, comparing timestamps, tracking engagement numbers, and mapping the arc of her downfall like a social media chess game. Some pointed out how quickly she had the merch line ready, as if it had been prepped in advance. Others noted that her uncensored site's launch occurred exactly 72 hours after the scandal broke, a turnaround time almost impossible unless it was ready before the backlash began. Suddenly, Bonnie Blue wasn't just a reckless creator. She was being reframed as a mastermind, or a manipulator, depending on who you asked. Either she had masterfully orchestrated one of the most talked-about creator controversies of the year, or she had expertly spun a crisis into a career-saving opportunity, or maybe both. But not everyone was buying it. Some creators called it out as dangerous, arguing that even if it was planned, it set a terrible precedent. We can't normalize creators staging trauma or exploiting backlash for profit, one popular streamer posted. It cheapens real harm and turns serious consequences into content. Others, however, were quietly impressed. Bonnie had done what very few could, turned being cancelled into a full-blown rebrand. In the span of a week, she went from a platform liability to a paid phenomenon. And the most ironic part? The platforms that had tried to distance themselves from her were now facing heat for silencing a woman creator while profiting off edgier male influencers doing similar stunts. The story became less about Bonnie's actions and more about the system itself. Who decides what's too far? Why do certain creators get banned while others get featured? And most importantly, if outrage fuels engagement, are platforms really punishing people like Bonnie? Or are they just pretending to disapprove while raking in the ad revenue behind the scenes? Bonnie herself remained vague. In a final statement posted to her news site, she wrote, "Was it all planned? Maybe. But if you're watching, I've already won." In an era where the internet punishes and rewards in the same breath, Bonnie Blue has become something of a digital Rorschach test. To some, she's the cautionary tale, proof that clout chasing eventually comes back to bite. To others, she's a genius, someone who turned cancellation into currency and flipped the script on a system designed to chew creators up and spit them out. But here's the real question. Was Bonnie Blue the villain of her own story? Or just the only one brave enough to say the quiet part out loud? In a digital world where visibility is everything and controversy is the fastest route to fame, maybe the real scandal isn't what Bonnie did. Maybe it's the fact that it worked. If this blew your mind, hit that like button, drop a comment with your take, and don't forget to subscribe. We've got way more uncensored drama coming your way.